A High Court judge has found Prince Harry was not improperly stripped of his publicly funded security detail during visits to Britain after he gave up his status as a working royal. Joining us from London is our royal expert and commentator, Josh Rom. Josh, great to speak to you. What do you make of this? Is it the decision that people in Britain were expecting?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, congratulations on the new show. I am loving this new set, by the way. It looks absolutely awesome. But yes, on this decision, I think it was very, very well expected. I mean, this is Prince Harry wanting to have his cake and eating it. So this effectively, he basically lost his appeal over the case, over the decision to downgrade his security. Now, what this effectively means is he says that he's being singled out and treated unfairly by the revoke committee. Now, this is the committee that oversees the security arrangements of the royal family and also other high-profile figures when they come to visit in the United Kingdom. And basically, it doesn't necessarily mean that Prince Harry will lose any and all security when he comes to the UK. If he comes to the UK and comes to, let's say, a royal event such as the coronation, where His Majesty the King or his brother, the Prince of Wales, is present, he will, of course, be covered under the security of that royal event. And per se, if he's on the Windsor Estate where other royals are present, he will, of course, be covered under that security. What it effectively means is his status overall has been downgraded. And the security arrangements and the status of his security will then be treated on a case-by-case basis, dependent on the relevant threat. Now, Prince Harry, of course, did want to or offer to pay for the same level of security when he comes to the UK himself, but a judge ruled against him on that account because it was thought that this would set a bad precedent where the Metropolitan Police and security will be seen as guns for hire. What this also effectively involves as well, and this is, I think, where Prince Harry's issue comes in, is he wants to have the same sort of intelligence sharing with the Metropolitan Police with his own security if he comes to the UK. But again, this is Prince Harry wanting to have his cake and eat it. He wants the perks of being a working member of the royal family without actually doing the duty. Now, I think the public are somewhat sympathetic to him, especially, you know, he is, bearing in mind, a prince of the realm. That was his birthright. And again, there is a kind of element to the public being split. Some people going, he wants his cake and eating it. And another part of the public going, well, if he wants his security, why can't he pay for it himself? We don't want to necessarily pay for his security, but if he wants to pay for it himself, what's the problem with that? The problem is the precedent it sets for the Metropolitan Police being guns for hire. So, you know, I think there's a real kind of conflict here. I think the main consensus is, you know, we are taxpayers. He's not a senior member of the senior working member of the royal family. We don't want to pay for his security. That is, I think, the main consensus in the United Kingdom. But I mean, some of the technicalities here, you know, the court and the judge ruled that this process wasn't an unfair process. The court did say that all options were considered on the table. This wasn't an unfair process. There wasn't any legal, you know, legal standpoint in which Prince Harry properly had. There was nothing unlawful about this process. But Prince Harry cannot have his cake and eat it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether this has an impact on Harry and Meghan's already dwindling popularity. But let's talk about Prince William. He withdrew from an event due to an unspecified personal matter, and it's raising concerns about the state of the royal family. Do we have any more information, or do we know why Prince William pulled out of this event?
We do not know why Prince William actually pulled out of this event itself. What we do know is we can read between the lines, and we know that this is a very significant event. So this was a memorial service for late King Constantine of Greece, and this was in St George's Chapel in Windsor Castle, just up the road from where Prince William lives, of course. The figure that was being that the service was for, he was the first cousin once removed of the late Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. He was as well William's godfather as well. So this was quite a significant figure. This involved the royal family of Greece. We know that Prince William called the Greek royal family to let them know that he was unable to attend. We also know that there were various other figures from other royal families from Europe. Some members of the Spanish royal family were also there in St George's Chapel as well. So we know that this was really quite a significant event for Prince William to miss. We know that he was due to partake in a reading in the order of service. It was a very last-minute cancellation as well. It's been reported that it was only 45 minutes before the event that Prince William pulled out of this event. So, you know, this is a very significant event for him to pull out of. It was a very last-minute decision, which signifies some urgency here. What we do know is that palace officials have been very insistent that the Princess of Wales's recovery is going well, that Princess Catherine, they very much implied that this wasn't due to Princess Catherine as well. So you know, there are questions being asked. The palace haven't been totally transparent. They have just said this is a personal matter. What we do know, also reading between the lines, and you know, this is pure speculation. This might have nothing to do with this, but it has been very widely reported that King Charles is very much starting to firm up his succession plans. And we know that succession planning wasn't due to start at least for another couple of years. So reading between the lines, there may be some urgency. There is definitely something going on. Something isn't right about this. And it's not necessarily due to Princess Catherine's condition. We know that she wasn't going to be seen in public until at least Easter, until probably at least April, if not May. We know that she had a very serious surgery. She was in hospital for 2 weeks. So we know her condition is serious enough, but the palace are saying that her recovery is going well. It's going very much to plan. That's what palace officials are saying. But this is a serious matter. This is not normal. This is almost unprecedented for a member of the royal family, a very senior member of the royal family, to pull out of an event like this with other significant public figures at the last minute, up to 45 minutes, under an hour before the event was due to start, when other European members of the royal family, other members of European royal families were there at the event. What we do know is that Her Majesty the Queen was actually leading the pack of royals at this event. So that might signify that the personal matter might not necessarily be due to His Majesty the King. We know that Prince William has 3 young children. So this could really be anything. The palace aren't going to comment about this specific matter. We know that Prince William is a private person living in the public eye. So they're being as transparent as they want to be. There is still lots of mystery here, but something isn't quite right.
Yeah, look, it's good to hear that Princess Catherine is reportedly doing well post her surgery. I suppose there's still so much that's not clear about the King's cancer diagnosis and his condition that he's in, but I really want to hone in on what royal sources are saying, that succession planning has already begun. And as you say, this is unprecedented and years ahead of schedule.
Absolutely. And I mean, listen, it might not necessarily be that urgent. I mean, we saw with Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral just how detailed that was. It was a huge 10-day operation, Operation London Bridge, leading up to the state funeral of Her late Majesty the Queen. This is a huge operation, handled absolutely seamlessly because this was years in the planning. The succession plan was being planned for almost decades in advance. We know that UK broadcasters even rehearse every single year the monarch's death. So I think King Charles III's cancer diagnosis, whilst it highlights a need maybe to start the planning in advance, it might be just a nod to start planning. It might suggest that his condition is more serious than the palace are letting on. We know that the palace haven't specified what type of cancer His Majesty the King has. So we don't quite know the severity of it. We know that he's undergoing inpatient treatment. He's going back and forth between the royal residences and London. We know he's staying in Clarence House. So we don't know how serious it is. The succession planning, or the need to start the planning for succession, it might just be because we know that his reign, regardless, we know that he started his reign at a far later, more progressed age than her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was very young when she started her reign. It was a record-setting reign, the longest-serving monarch in our country's history. We know that. And we celebrated that at her Platinum Jubilee. So we know that King Charles will not have a reign like that. So maybe the succession planning is simply because the reign is going to be shorter, so arrangements need to be firmed up more quickly, and maybe the cancer diagnosis was at least an indicator that the palace might have to accelerate those plans. Saying that, the palace aren't saying how advanced His Majesty the King's condition is. So again, there are still lots of unanswered questions there.
Josh Rom, it is always fascinating to get your insights and analysis. Thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on the new show.
Thanks, Josh.